Item 10b, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with the San Bruno Community Foundation to reimburse the city for city attorney services.
The purpose of this item, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, is a proposal for the city of San Bruno and the foundation to execute an agreement between those two parties for a portion of the city attorney's services. And as you know, I continue to provide services to the foundation board as well as advising the executive director on sort of routine legal issues that come up on a day-to-day basis, reviewing staff reports, providing advice about compliance with the Brown Act and other laws that aren't generally within the purview of people who are running nonprofits. So now that the $70 million has been transferred by the city to the foundation, it seemed like an appropriate time to capture the time that my office spends on performing work for the foundation. And we've estimated that at about 5% of my time, and that's fairly consistent on average, and we anticipate it would be about that going forward. So the foundation board did consider that proposal and did approve it at their last meeting. The fiscal impact for the city of San Bruno would be about a $17,000 reduction in the city attorney budget, and that's not, would be reimbursed by the foundation. It's not reflected in the current budget because this occurred after the budget was prepared, but it would be, the budget, I understand, would be modified to reflect that if that is approved this evening. So staff recommends that you do authorize the city manager to execute that agreement for 5% of the city attorney services at this time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Anything for Mark?
Through the chair.
Council, Rico?
There was somebody that asked, so I'm going to ask here is, the question came up of why can't the city provide that service and not ask for the reimbursement? And maybe they're providing it because they need legal counsel, and I get that. And not to say that your rates are reasonable, but let's say they are. Is there a rationale or reason as to why the city is taking from the trust, from the settlement monies, and it's not taking, it's being reimbursed, so that's the wrong word to use, for that, and rather than just providing that as a service?
Well, sure. I think there may have been a comment about, well, the city doesn't charge its other boards and commissions for those services, but of course those boards and commissions are only advisory. They're advisory to the city council. The foundation is a separate nonprofit entity with, of course, its own source of funding, and the foundation is also paying for outside counsel at a specialized outside counsel at rates that are double, triple, and more than our office would provide those services at. So it's really a win-win in that the foundation gets legal services on specialized issues at a relatively reasonable cost, while at the same time the city can get reimbursed for that time so that it's not suffering any deficits as a result of that.
I appreciate the explanation, and Leslie, I would take it then you and the board need this service and would have allocated this resource to come to the city for his services.
Yes, the city attorney provides a lot of counsel because we are sort of a quasi-public agency, and so the nonprofit counsel, outside counsel we're using are less knowledgeable about that area. So having someone that's familiar with the foundation and our operations, that is familiar with the public law aspects that we have to abide by, has been very worthwhile.
Thank you. Any other questions or action by the council? Resolution. Would someone like to introduce the resolution?
I'll introduce it.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Marty Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember Rico Medina.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.